All right. Hey, folks. Welcome to the new year. Hopefully everything's going well for y'all. Yeah, I guess to get started, if you are new here, feel free to unmute and give a brief intro for why you're here, what you typically do or want to do around the project. And yeah, totally optional, but feel free. All right. With that, I think we've got, I've got one thing on the agenda for today, but also if anybody wants to add any additional items, please feel free to. And the first thing to start is just KubeCon EU is coming up, I believe in Amsterdam around April, if I remember correctly. I think we've mentioned it in a previous meeting as well, but we have, if nothing else, slots for maintainer tracks. So stuff like the Sig-Testing introduction, which is also encouraged as a panel thing to be representative of folks across a bunch of different companies and not all sticking to the same one. So basically, I'll put out a call as well in the channel. If there's anybody who would love to speak at KubeCon EU for the Sig-Testing group, you do not need to be like, I think, of anybody of any particular experience, as long as you have like are willing to talk about Sig-Testing. So yeah, again, I'll put out a call in the channel for that, but if you are interested, please hit me up or just like note in the channel that you are, and we can get that figured out. I believe the proposal is due by the 27th, so I will need names and some basic info for everybody who is interested in doing that. All right. And I think that's it for me. Cool. So next person, Mohammed, did you link the second agenda item?
Sorry, actually,
the PR review is not mine; it's somebody else's.
Okay.
It's actually mine. So
Gotcha. Yeah, go for it.
Hey, so I'm Divya. I'm currently working in VMware, and so basically, I'm working on the Sonoboy project. And while working on the Sonoboy project, we found some issues reported by some of the users. Basically, is that like when they use the E2E framework, right? And if so, the E2E test actually spawns pods in separate namespaces, and if those pods use private images from the private registry, they go into the error state, actually image pullback off state. So for that, I have created one issue and also filed a PR. So just wanted to get more eyes on this PR from other people in this group.
Awesome. Is there anything in particular that you want feedback on, or just like general, make sure that people are aware of it?
Regarding awareness and as well as the feedback regarding how I'm approaching the issue, right? Because the secrets will be added to all the pods, right? And if there's any other major concerns from other people in this group, I just wanted to, address those.
Sounds great. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks for surfacing. All right. I think that sounds good for that. Next item is Argo CD.
Oh yeah, so that's from me, right? So I'm thinking of deploying some slightly complicated applications to the Kubernetes clusters. The ones under Kubernetes and IO, not the power control plane. But these apps are like bundled as Helm charts, for example. So they're not really Kubernetes manifests that sit in a repository. So I was thinking, what's your thoughts as testing from call? Like, how should we use Argo CD, or is there like another approach that you're going to take? Because for the power clusters that I manage, just what I did, because I found kubectl not to be that convenient for deploying complicated stuff?
It's a good question, but I'm not super familiar with Argo CD. Oh, and Ben is also joining the call. Hey folks.
Yeah, I see Ben and Linus are on, so I'm
Yeah.
wondering what you're thinking.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Ben or Linus, do you have a opinion on Argo CD versus kubectl for management?
Sorry, I just had audio cut out.
Yeah, no worries. We're currently on the third item in the agenda right now. So if you have any thoughts about or experience with Argo CD versus kubectl for cluster management. Or not cluster management, but yeah.
I mean, we've definitely had problems with pure kubectl. I think the biggest problem we have is pruning. For everything else, I think we're very happy with having manifests checked in that exactly represent what we're doing. But if we prune something, then we tend to have to do that manually. It has been pretty rare in our case that we're actually like dropping something from the deployment, though, where we add things occasionally. It's pretty rare that we drop things. I think for test infra's deployment, I actually can't remember having dropped things because we're generally deploying like prow components, and I think the last time we removed a prow component was taught
Okay.
a couple of years ago. So that hasn't been a big issue. In some other parts of the project in like Sig-Testing, there's a little bit more churn, but even there, it hasn't been a super big deal to have someone delete something. It isn't ideal though. I think if you have a namespace, it's possible to do pruning.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I'm asking is it's for the Grafana work for Sig-Testing, but like Grafana comes as a very big Helm chart with a lot of stuff in it. It's not readily deployable using Kubernetes manifests.
Yeah, I actually we haven't done this approach, but if you like in the case that you're applying a directory and you use a label, it's possible to have kubectl do pruning. But yeah, I don't think we've used Argo CD anywhere. We've used everything from Bash and rules, Kates and Terraform and G-Cloud CLI Python, but I don't think I've seen any parts of the Kubernetes project using Argo CD.
Okay. Okay, so it seems like if I write a proposal, it might go somewhere. So I might write one up. I do want to note that I do use it today with the knative Prow infrastructure, and it works very well with some of the complicated applications. We don't check in any secrets because there's a couple of apps like that create secrets on the fly, and they work just fine. But yeah, I might write up a proposal and see where that goes. Also, who owns the community like AAA cluster? Like
Who what about it?
yeah, there's a community cluster that's defined in Terraform. Like, who owns that one?
Kates Infra.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, there's like some specific Prow clusters that Test Infra is more or less managing in like with Kates Infra,
Okay.
including some old Google ones. But I believe AAA is a Sig-Kates Infra cluster where the utility stuff is running.
Okay.
Just small general things.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
There was an older one that it replaced that was inside of Google that was done. It was like something like Kubernetes Public was a GCP project with a tools I might be confusing names, but there was like a tools or utility cluster, and AAA. I think it's named that because it was intended to be short-lived.
Okay.
I think Tim was like, we'll spin up something and you can put things here and we'll figure it out later. And then it didn't go away. So
Okay.
Classic. All right. Yeah, is there anything more we need on this?
No,
Or does
that's
that
it.
sound good?
I'm gonna go write something up and then we can take it offline.
Yeah, sounds great. And it looks like looking into Argo CD might be good. Or sorry, on our end. But yeah. Cool. Dipankar, I think you have the next item.
Yes, yes. Hi everyone. So basically this PR I've created, it's just handling some kind of error in this valid admission policy. Like it had the tag of fix me. So just created that PR. Yeah.
Yeah, I checked the PR now, and I
Okay, man. Mm,
already assigned it to the person that said that was going to review.
Thanks.
Well, in general, these things take time.
Oh,
Sorry, missed out while copying some stuff, but this is currently being or sorry, this is made aware of and being reviewed or in a different state.
He had a PR for an API machinery test, and it wasn't triage. So the PR didn't have the OK to test, and neither have a reviewer assigned the length. It's legit, but I mean, it's not for Sig-Testing. It's for API machine.
All right. Yeah, anything else needed on this, or it sounds like it is in a good state.
it's in a good state. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Cool. And then last thing, there's a note posted in chat about green Windows unit test. If you want to speak to that a bit more, feel free. I also posted in the agenda.
Yeah, hello. Trying to have the Windows Unit Test jobs to be green, so we can actually have it running on most pull requests if necessary. This will also help us prevent potential bugs in the future, because a few of them have been introduced since a couple of months since we started working on those unit tests. So we're actually also fixing some bugs in Kubernetes. So that would be great to have them merged. Still have 2 other pull requests which would have to be merged, but that should be pretty much it. I do have a pull request on KK, which basically cherry picks all those pull requests I mentioned, plus a few other ones which adds more coverage to pretty much a lot of the things in Kubernetes, and that should be passing already with everything. So that's one of the goals that I have for this release, at least.
Yeah, but most of these tests I was talking about are responsibility of the. No, most of them are in the node team, right, Kraus?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Most of the fixes or of this pull request depends on the node, on the SIG node approval, right?
I think some of the changes are test-only changes anyways. So it's
yeah,
but it's
we
not
don't own all the
the
unit tests.
yeah. So the thing is, the ownership testing doesn't own the tests of Kubernetes.
Yeah,
We
okay.
kind of own the cluster E2E tests. We've helped shepherd that, but we're
Yeah.
really only supposed to own the framework there. But in practice, people who own the E2E framework own the tests as well. It's more convenient. But with the unit tests, because Prow doesn't have granular ownership yet, even if we wanted to set that up, you would effectively have to give Sig-Testing approval over like all of the all of the source code. So that's not something that I think any of us here are remotely close to. So yeah, I don't think anybody in this call can approve like kubelet package changes and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So,
We can make
for
recommendations
example,
about how to test effectively. We go through and send fixes sometimes. Like I've just got the Linux tests running not root finally properly. But like we have to get approvals from the SIGs that own the individual packages for unit tests.
so for example, Claudio, I can approve the network ones, okay, because I'm in SIG network approved. So
Well, I
you
think the
have,
first one is a network one.
okay, so I think,
It's regarding pod DNS policies, which are missing on Windows.
okay.
Yeah, and I would say that also I want to mention that the policy we have is that we want to move tests into release informing, release blocking. There's a good policy written up for how you get release blocking tests. We should get this CI signal release blocking as soon as it's green, or well, informing blocking. And then if you see release blocking signal frequently broken by something that should have been caught, that's our signal that we need to start running it on every PR. It's a lot more expensive to run it on every PR. If it's flaky, you know, it blocks people's PR. So we actually periodically want to reevaluate and look at moving things out. But when we see something that is in release blocking signal that is it needs fixing on a regular basis because things are not getting caught and it's difficult to track them down, then we move it. So like for example, some of the scale testing is the kind of thing that isn't actually run on every PR. It breaks like maybe once or twice a release where some regression happens and they go fix it, but it wouldn't be effective to put it on every pull request change. But something like the Linux unit tests, we know they break pretty often if you don't actually just test them and pre-submit. I would guess the Windows unit tests are going to be that way, but like as a matter of policy, it's release informing, release blocking. And for release blocking, you actually have to talk to SIG release and the release team. And there's a document that defines this. I can pull that up.
So as a thought, currently, I think for Windows unit tests, we have something like 30 unit tests which are failing. Would it be an idea to add a skip for them at this moment and have it informing with the promise to fix those eventually?
I mean, because
And then
yeah,
okay.
that would be similar to the E2E tests, for example. I mean, one of the ways that the important jobs are kept healthy is that sometimes an E2E test is deemed like not important, kicked out, or like this is fundamentally a flaky test because the design or something, it gets tagged flaky or whatever. We don't do it a lot these days. I think we have a pretty stable set, but in the past we used to pretty often like skip some tests out of CI suites. I hadn't seen a unit test before, but I think that's fair for getting the signal in place, because also to meet release blocking status, you do need to show that the job has been stable for a while. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, then I'll send a pull request which skips the currently failing ones and have it green for as an informing job in the first place, because new failures have been introduced over the past few months. So at least we should know if something like that happens again.
We never got this written up for pre-submit properly, but Aaron in particular worked with release on the release blocking ones, and we push things there first. I mean, it's also the most value that if you get it into release blocking status, then we will not ship a release without it being fixed. And CI signal will also be helping like keep an eye on and file issues for failing tests. for things that meet that bar. And that some of those things need to be copied over to pre-submit.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Well, I think that was the last item that we had written down. Does anyone who came today have like a last minute something they want to bring up? Okay, well, I'll mention this year we'll be looking for more chairs in particular. Michelle is doing almost all of the chair work right now. Aaron and Steve, I'm not sure exactly about their status. I'll reach out to them, but haven't been around. And for a while, I admit I kind of intentionally let Michelle focus on it to, cement that position. But I have steering and some other things, and I'm definitely not doing enough of my part here. So I'm looking to not be part of the problem and to rotate out of some of these SIG testing positions. We have added some chairs, but some tech leads. We've only added one chair. I would like to find at least one more chair. So if any of you are interested, we're going to be trying to figure something out. We talked to contributor experience at the end of last year about how they run chair mentoring, and we haven't gotten that running yet, but we'll be bringing that back up. And I wanted to go ahead and mention here that we'll be looking for someone to help run the chair role, doing the meetings and the annual report and some things like that.
I believe also there either is or should be a guide for like the chair responsibilities in general across the SIGs going up soon. Ben, I don't know if you know the status of that better.
No, I don't know that better, but I know it's something that's been talking about. So SIG testing is well ahead of the curve there, but there's a bit of a general push to have SIGs split chair and tech lead roles so that more people can be recognized, the workload can be spread around, have better continuity, etc. Historically, the chair role in SIGs has kind of been a combination of chair and tech lead. SIG testing does have separate chair and tech lead roles, and you can actually be in both, but they are separate listings and they have different requirements. Tech leads are mostly expected to be helping approve spinning up and shutting down subprojects and KEPs. But in practice, even KEPs, like while they technically require sign off, it's pretty common to delegate some of the review to other people that know about these things. Chair is running the meetings, collecting the annual report, and other organizational things for the SIG that aren't technical. But are very much leadership. As an example, I actually am staffing both of those currently, but I don't intend to do that long term. That was kind of transitional, as we need to find more people from I was chairing before her and I worked on splitting the roles. So anyhow, if anyone's interested, please reach out to me or Michelle. And we'll be sending out a broader look at some point.
Yeah, this also includes if you're like unsure about it, but are potentially interested, like definitely still reach out, and I think we can help with that. All right. Anything else that folks want to last minute put on the agenda? All right, seeing no other hands, I think we can call it good. Thanks for joining, everybody. And yeah, hope to see you again soon. I will put a reminder in the chat as well for the Keep County talk, as well as the chairs. All right. Take care.